Episode 10. I don't know, is that a big deal? Probably not. I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys for all the comments and everything. Those comments help me out so much. Just hearing people say that they like this thing and, they're looking forward to the next episode, that helps me so much. Because like I said, I think more than anything, this helps me. Even though I'm trying to help others out there, it really does help me. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me motivated to share my story. Even though I'm sure people are sick of my story, it makes me sober. And I think that's kind of what I want to touch about. The topic tonight is maybe just a couple tips what makes me stay sober, and tips that may help you if you're newly in recovery or you're trying to get sober. First of all, I gotta get this out. I've gotten a couple comments on my Instagram and Facebook. People hit me up saying, dude, I don't think you're sober. What the fuck? I don't get it. So if anybody out there is questioning if I'm sober, I just don't even get that. It makes me for some reason I try not to get pissed over stupid comments, which I know there's always gonna be people like that. But when people really say that, and I've seen it a couple times, that really bugs me. And I know you're not supposed to get mad at these keyboard warriors, but God, everything, I don't know. I think unless you didn't know who I was in the past and how bad I was, it's just hearing me talk, I'm sober. I was fucking Beavis and Butthead. I couldn't even spit out any words. So I don't know. I think that just kind of really pisses me off, because I'm trying so hard to stay this way and to stay motivated. So we'll just jump in. So if anybody out there, F you, I'll block you, don't follow me. I hate negative shit. And that's the number one thing getting into tips of staying sober, is just trying to stay positive, trying to stay pumped. And I get a lot of people saying, how do you keep up the motivation after being sober? And I don't know. I tell you guys this a lot. I'm not a specialist in this. I'm just telling you guys my story. After being addicted to heroin, losing everything, 3 DUIs, always ending up in jail, family hating me, losing relationships, losing my house, trucks, everything known to man, and then once you're sober and you wake up every day, I just don't get it. How couldn't you be pumped? But I feel that I'm lucky, I'm blessed. I have a good family, I got a support system. I know that it's not all the same for everybody, but no matter what, the hell of addiction for people out there, which I'm sure a lot of you guys, that's the only reason you're watching this, because we can maybe relate to my story. How it is being addicted to drugs. That it's horrible. I forget sometimes, and every single night I think about that. Let's just go into it. That's tip number one. After you guys have 30 days sober, have a little bit of time sober, never forget where you came from. For me, that's number one. Every single time before I go to bed, I remember always thinking, waking up and or just going to bed thinking what it was like running out of pills, running out of heroin, what you felt like, how you feel like you would literally sell your dog to go get a next sack, and just that feeling of being dope sick. Thinking about that, I remember thinking back in rehab. I remember the first couple days in rehab where I had nothing to my name, and I just felt like, dude, this is like the TV shows, you see people going to rehab, and that was me. I think about that, and then I wake up and I have everything, and I wake up feeling great. I wake up feeling like I'm 12 years old again. And you just never, don't forget where you came from, Even though, and I'm saying this to people that are sober and maybe you got some time and you're losing focus how to stay positive, never forget where you came from. Never forget those horrible times waking up in jail, blacked out, not knowing how you got there, getting arrested, waking up and everything's gone in your house. Just whatever crazy story you have if you're an addict or alcoholic. Never forget that, because once you get sober, you never have to experience that again. For me, pretty cut and dry. I wake up sober, I go to bed, like that. I don't need weed. I don't need anything to make me go to sleep. You don't need anything. Your body's made to run on nothing. You don't need any of that crap. I go to sleep like I just close my eyes, I go to sleep. I wake up on time. I wake up with so much energy. It's crazy. I just wake up, I'll get my running shoes on, go running, go to work. I just never stop. I think that's with everybody that I've seen that has gotten sober. Like, it's like that. I mean, I think you just lose focus when you're addicted to drugs and alcohol. You forget about what it was like when you were a kid and like you're 12 and had all this energy. That's like what it's like in life. But the drugs and alcohol take that away from you. So it's just amazing. Maybe I lost where I'm going with this. It's just amazing how great being sober is. And I just remember never thinking there's a way out. And I really hope there's some people out there watching this where you think there's not a way out. I'm on heroin or I'm taking pills, I'm trying to wean down. There's no way I can think about going on without doing drugs. It was the scariest thing I've ever had to experience. I'd rather shoot myself in the leg right now than to experience thinking in my head like, how can I do this without drugs or alcohol, whatever your addiction is? You can, and it's a very tough road, but you can do it, and you can be as excited and pumped I am. It's still amazing that I'm even doing something like this, and I work for a recovery magazine after what a junkie and blackout drinker and just what a horrible person I was to drugs and alcohol. And I'm just letting you guys know that nobody's paying me to do this. I just want to share my story because I just hope there's one person out there that may hear my story and just think if I can do it, you can do it, and you totally can. I still get a lot of people that hit me up, and this was the whole point about doing this YouTube thing, so I don't have to reply to everybody. It's just with work and everything, I'm not trying to be too cool or anything, but it's just I'm very busy, so. And no matter what, if somebody replies to me or writes to me about how do I get sober, I will never scroll past that. That's my obligation, that's my duty. Being sober is to give back and try and help others. So I'll always write back to you, but I'm trying to steer when people ask me that, I just say go to my YouTube channel, because maybe one episode I explain, I feel like I'm doing pretty good at explaining how to try and, my story about getting sober, but it's just rehab. The only way, if you're really looking into trying to get clean and, you're ruining everything, your family, you ruin relationships, your wife or husband are over you, you're losing it, you're fired from your job, you just feel like there's no hope for life. The only way I could do it, I wasn't strong enough, and I always hear people and get comments, people saying, dude, I'm doing the steps to get clean and to change my life around. I'm weaning down. I'm going to meetings. I could never do that. I was never that strong. Like when the court told me I had to go to AA meetings and I had an intervention, the first intervention when I wasn't ready. I was going to AA meetings, but I was snorting Roxy's and OC80s in the bathroom and then coming out and then reading a couple pages in the big book. And totally fooled everybody. Said I was sober. I was so good at lying and doing drugs. Like I was, as addicts, you get very good at that stuff. So I was going into meetings and like fully talking in front of people and coming home and telling my mom and chick I'm sober, I'm doing really good. And it was a lie. It was just to fool everybody and make them think I was doing good, but I wasn't. So I get it. If you're not ready, you're not ready. But where was I going with this? What I'm saying is, for people saying that they're doing the steps, I couldn't do that. I wasn't strong enough. I was very weak, and the pills were way too strong. My addiction was too strong. I couldn't do it. I had to go to rehab. Really quick, it ended up addicted to pills, drugs for 12 years. I got into heroin the last 3-4 years, and then the last 2 months of my addiction, I couldn't get heroin anymore because I ran out of money. I sold everything. I was down to a couch in somebody's house after I had a house, everything. So I started to get in, I got into dust off. I don't like telling this story a lot. I got into dust off, and people, I bring this story up a lot. Dust off ruined my life. Heroin absolutely ruined my life, but dust off was a whole different beast. I was doing that stuff to make my body feel high because I had to be high no matter what. I couldn't get heroin. I wasn't gonna suck a dick for heroin or anything. I got very low, but not that low. So I was doing dust off to keep my body high where I wasn't going through withdrawals, and I was passing out in Best Buy, Target, off dust off, like the shit you see in that intervention, and you're like, what the fuck is she on? That was me. I remember so many times in Target, I remember waking up on the floor and people around me, and I'd get up and I was just out of it. I just huffed that stuff so much till I passed out, and so many times running out of Target, it's disgusting. Every time I go into Best Buy, the smell of that store reminds me of stuff. I remember I went in there and I was doing so much I threw up in Best Buy, and I got kicked out and got arrested. That's as low as you can go. I get it. I'm sure a lot of you guys are laughing right now, like, dude, this guy, what the fuck? I'm just telling you how low my addiction got. I didn't have anything to get the drugs I wanted, and I had to get high, and that led me where I passed out in my truck doing dust off. There's a lot more story. I don't know, I think I told it before, but I ran into 7 cars, sideswiped them, and head on into a semi truck in the middle of an intersection, and that was the lowest point in my life. Even though I got out of that truck and everybody was screaming, and I told them I had a seizure or something, I got out, and first thing I did, I didn't even think about anything. I made sure I still had a can of dust off in my truck. That's as low as you can get, Thank God I did not kill anybody. I pray every night about that night, praying I didn't kill anybody, and that's the hardest thing through my recovery, is thinking about that time and thinking about other times that I put other people's lives in jeopardy. And I think that's a big thing once you get sober, is just thinking of all the stuff you did and you screwed up, and you got to make your amends. And this is why I'm doing this. It's kind of I just feel I got to do everything in my power to pay back and try and help people, because I could have killed somebody that day. Anyways, that's where my addiction led me to. Pretty much getting back to why, when you guys write to me saying you're doing the right steps, how strong you are, because I couldn't do that. So I ended up in jail, and I went to rehab right after that, and that's where I changed my life around. So for me, that's the only way I could change my life around, you guys, and that's why I tell you rehab. And if not, if you can't go to rehab, and rehab was the best time of my life, everything about it. I talk all about it in episode 2 of this channel, so go check that out if you haven't. It was the best time of my life. That's how I changed my life around, was rehab. I went to sober living 3 months after that, and after that, my life exploded. Actually, in rehab, my life exploded. It was amazing. So if you guys can't do rehab, I would suggest anybody out there really trying to get your life and you want to change your life around and you don't know the right steps, is to do 30 meetings, AA or NA meeting, 30 meetings in 30 days. Go to 1 meeting a day. That meeting will hopefully keep you sober for that day, and that's where it comes from, 1 day at a time. It's going to keep you sober for that day. Next day, go hit up another one. It's 1 hour. Go there and don't even talk. Just go sit in the back. But you should start being involved in those meetings. After 30 days, you will 100% feel something. You'll hear something. Something will click. And that's a good roll off a snowball down a hill, and it's going to pick up, whatever metaphor I'm trying to say, you get it. That's a very good start. So, those are my 2 things. Rehab, AA meetings, 30 meetings in 30 days. That's the best start you can do. And if you go to rehab, just listen to what they say, you guys. For me, I had no ego. Everybody else had a big ego. They thought they knew what they were doing. Obviously, if they did know what they were doing, they wouldn't be in rehab. I went in there and I was like a puppy with the tails between my legs. I just listened to what they said. I was completely powerless over everything. Listen to what they said. I did everything, and that's as easy as that. Rehab 100% works if you want it. It doesn't matter if you do $20,000 rehabs in Malibu. I went to some pretty ghetto one, very cheap. It worked. So it doesn't matter what rehab you go to. So anyways, back to kind of the topic. What I'm talking about is tips to stay sober. For me, swear to God, before rehab, I've never been a runner, ever. never really trained, you know, always riding dirt bikes and stuff. I was always in good condition, but running. After rehab, running was absolutely the best thing I could do. So if you guys are newly in recovery and you want to keep that motivation, I would just go to the gym. If you're not a runner, you can't do it. But for me, run. I think the endorphins, what you get after like just run a mile, it took me right out of rehab. I just wasn't a runner. It took me like the first time I ran like a quarter mile, then half mile, then a mile. When I hit a mile, it's a big deal. But the endorphins you get, endorphins after you run, it's almost like being high. You get this like, this feeling, and it's just amazing. So like that, and it's just, you're exercising, you're feeling good, you're pushing yourself. After you run, you absolutely feel better. So it's like everything when you're an addict, it's everything opposite from that. So running is a huge thing for me. And it's like you can push yourself, try and beat your fast mile, see how far you can run. I told this story on my Instagram, and one day I was always pushing myself. I'm like, dude, I want to run 3 miles. Whoa, I did it. I'm going to run 5 miles. I got up to 15 miles. It's not a big deal. My goal in my life, I'm probably going to do it next year, is do a marathon, which is 26 miles. But I ran 15 miles like 6 months out of rehab. That was a big deal for me. And it's just like, it gives you that motivation, you know? It gives you, just like push yourself, see what you can do. After being sober, like you can do anything. Drugs robbed you from that. Drugs took everything, you know? You're in a bubble in drugs. The only thing you're dealing with is like, where do I get the drugs? How do I have enough stuff to last me through today, to be high today so I can survive till tomorrow and then do it all over again? Once that, everything's different. You can smell, you got emotions, you can see clear, you can talk clear. I got 3 businesses, like just anything's possible, you know, anything. So running's a big deal, and definitely makes sobriety number 1 for me. I don't go to meetings every day. I do stuff like this. I'm very active in my social media. I reply to people. I usually give one random person my phone number. If they hit me up and they're really dealing with some problems, I'll usually get their number and talk to them. So I'm just blessed. I have you guys, and somehow I got fans, I guess, whatever you want to call them, you know, so I'm lucky. If I didn't have anything, if I didn't have a supportive family, I would be going to meetings every day. But you got to make sobriety number 1, and this is like what I would do, but this is what I'm doing, is be open with it. Like, since you get sober and you say I'm a recovering drug addict and I'm sober and I'm making it number 1, dude, I got tattoos, I tell people all my crazy stories, not one person is like looked down at me or said, geez, I can't believe you did that. Like, I don't want my kids around you. Like, it's completely the opposite. It's like people want to hear that. You know, it's just weird. Not one time have I heard somebody look down at me or like talk or like look at me funny. So be open about it. Go out and try and help somebody, you know? Do whatever. Just be a nice person. When you're sober, there's no reason to lie anymore. There's no reason to be a dick. Like, it's just amazing. So you do have to change your surroundings and everything about it, but you realize it's not as hard as that sounds. Like, you know, when you're partying and going doing drugs with all your buddies, like, you realize when you're sober, you really realize how they're just a bunch of dirtbags, and it's not fun, and you're probably not going to want to hang out with them after you get sober anyway, so it's not even a big deal. So yeah, I still had the friends that cared about me, but I changed kind of everything about what I was doing before, you know, but it's a good change, and you'll love it no matter what. So I don't know, you guys. Like I said, this stuff just really helps me. Being sober's changed my life. You know, I'm sure I talk about it a lot, but like I said, the number 1 tip is you just got to make sobriety number 1. Absolutely number 1. Make it more than your family, more than anything in your life. Because once you make sobriety number 1, everything behind it, even if it's your kids, your wife, your husband, your relationship is going to be that much grander, and that much more lovable, whatever word. Like, it's going to be better for everything. I always have those times where, like, I wake up pissed. I wake up and say I'm over all this stuff. I'm over just the world. I still have those problems. Not just because you get sober, like it's flawless. You still have mood swings and stuff, but I'm telling you, it's 95%. I have energy and I'm smiling and I'm just pumped. Sobriety gives you that. It'll give you that too. Swear to God. Just make sobriety number 1, and every night, Don't forget about where you came from. Don't forget. Always try and think about when you're newly in recovery. Think about the jacked up times. Like I said, whatever your horror stories are, if you got some good ones, which I'm sure you do, don't forget about that. Because when you wake up and you realize you're sober and all that stuff's behind you, and tomorrow you're going to work on your sobriety and you're going to be sober for today, it's one day at a time. You realize you don't have to go back to that evil place, and you never have to, ever. I don't know if I'm going to be sober tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be sober tomorrow, but like a year, who knows what's going to happen. I know I'm sober today. I'm going to pray tonight. Thank you. I'm not too religious. I don't go to church, but I do believe there's somebody up there, because I know everything that happened in my life, for me to still be alive, I know somebody's looking after me, and I know there's a reason for me to be alive. Maybe it's to kind of help others. I don't know what it is, but I pray every night. Thank you so much for giving me today, making me sober, and just know that I'm trying my hardest. And just thank you for everything you've given me, and I promise I'm going to be a good person. And I love you. And I say that every night. I love you. God, my higher power. I'm not going to get religious or anything, but you have to have a higher power. You have to know there's something bigger than just you. Whatever your higher power is, you got to have that. It really helps out in sobriety. So, you guys, just thank you, and please reach out to me, Instagram or something. I hope this can be enough. And like I said, if I don't get back to you right away, I'm working. I'm just really busy. But if I can do it, you guys, anybody can do it. And I'm not the best speaker. I might sound like an idiot. I'm just trying to do this. Hopefully, maybe one thing I might spit out. Maybe it might help somebody. I don't know. I'm trying my hardest. I got a guest I'm interviewing next week. That's really cool. But I'm sorry if I'm not maybe doing this the right way, or I'm not giving the right tips. I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm really trying hard. I just want to share my story and tell you guys that you can get your life back. And I remember in my addiction, I knew how jacked up it was. I just never thought there could be a way out. And the life I have now, I just want to let you guys know you can do it. You can get your life back with sobriety, and that's the only way. So I don't know. I hope I said something that made sense. But anyways, thank you guys, and I read every single comment, and it really means a lot. Go follow Recovery Today magazine on the App Store. Online magazine for your phone or computer. It's really good. I got my own article in there, SCUMMY Unplugged. I just interviewed Nikki Six. That's coming up in December. Brandon Novak's coming up this month. It's a great online magazine. So download that. And thank you, everybody, all my sponsors, my family, everybody. I love life. I love you guys. And I especially love my bike. Going riding this week. Anyways, I'm talking too much. Over and out. See you guys next week. Later.
Just like the Kennedys killed Marilyn Monroe, the Reagans had a secret the public couldn't know. And Winterland, his wife was making a kid, and he couldn't let anyone know what she did. The voters couldn't know about Nancy and Sid. I'm sorry, dear, but this is how it's gotta be.